So what's up, people, and welcome to the chapter 20 and final chapter discussion of檻ノ中のソリスト, or Soloist in a Cage. So, yeah, one thing I will have to say, this has been an enjoyable journey. This was a wonderful, wonderful series. It was sad, there was a bunch of melancholy, it was happy, there was wonderful warm feelings in it. It was sinister. There was dark, violent times. And it was just an all-around, well-written story. So, thank you very much, Shiro Moriya Sensei. I am very happy that you made this series. I am very thankful that you made so many people happy reading this series. And I will be looking forward to whatever you make in the future. But in any case, let's get started. So chapter 20 starts off where 19 left off. If you recall, in 19, we found out that both Chloe and Leo had fallen off of the airship, and they were still stuck in the prison area. The children had already escaped and were safe from the prison, but they had made a decision that they will be going back to rescue both Leo and Chloe. Both of those characters were so important to the escape, and they understood just how much they sacrificed for the escape that they chose to go back, even though there was a risk of not being able to escape, to rescue both Leo and Chloe. Now, luckily, Leo had an idea, and this turned out to be a very interesting idea. It's one of those things that, again, I would like to leave for you to read directly because it is such a nice part of the story of how they are able to get through the defenses of the prison. And it's one of those things that you do see in other entertainment franchises, such as The Matrix, where something happened with the Nebuchadnezzar. You remember Morpheus' ship, and they did the same thing. But it was one of those things that here I didn't realize that that was what they were going to do. And it was a nice surprise, at least for me, that that was what they did to somehow overcome the defenses. And once again, I will leave a link to this manga that is currently being shown by the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, for free to the North American audience. So if you're interested, yeah, go take a look at it. It's really, really good. And if you haven't read any of the other previous chapters, go take a look at all of them because all 20 chapters are still there. This is a comic worth reading. But in any case, the airship is able to get through the defenses and pick up Leo and Chloe. And considering the fact that, of course, the defenses included things like airborne missiles, it was a very interesting plan for them to be able to overcome those obstacles. And throughout this entire part, of course, the plot is very interesting, but Soloist in the Cage goes beyond that, and it's far more important to look at the relationship between Leo and Chloe. That's probably the most important part, at least for me, with regards to this comic. And so it was really nice to see those two finally acknowledge themselves as siblings during the rescue. And so once they were rescued, of course, they needed to hightail out of there. Eventually, though, the defenses of the prison successfully does hit the airship, but it is far enough along that although they will have to crash land, they could crash land outside of the prison. Now, to understand, this is outside of the prison boundaries, so they could still escape, but this is still within the borders of the country that has that prison city, so they need to get to the border really fast before the guards catch up to them. And so it's a very tense moment, and eventually the guards do catch up to them, and the story takes an interesting turn at that point. We were somewhat forewarned, but I won't tell you where we were forewarned, and I won't tell you how they are able to get out of it. But they are able to get out and somehow get to the border, where the border guards initially wonder who they are and come to apprehend them. But by that time, you feel that they are going to be in good hands. And so you don't worry too much about the children. Who you do worry about is Chloe, because the scenes that you see are from Chloe's perspective, and you see her vision get darker and darker as her life drains away. And so this leaves us with a situation where we're not exactly sure what happens. And this moves to the final scene of the manga series. And oh my gosh, the ending is so good. Not only in the way it finished the plot, but also in the way the author drew the scenes and wrote the story. This is, again, not about just the plot, but about the execution of the plot. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. This author is really good at stirring up emotions through certain scenes that you see. And the ending gives such an emotional impact. It hits you in the feels so hard. It is sad, it is happy, it is tense. There is so many emotions that go around while you're reading that final part of the chapter. And what's interesting is it doesn't give you the ending that you wanted to read. What it gives you is something that's somewhat open for you to interpret at the very end. Luckily, the author gives enough implication that you could justify at least what I wanted as the final ending. You could argue as the ending that came out in the manga. The way it ends is so well done. It makes you imagine what the ending is, but it gives you enough story that you can imagine what the ending is. And once again, the scenery and the images that the author gives during that ending is so emotional that you really enjoy that ending. So I won't show the ending. It's really not a good idea to show the ending here. If you really want to see it, experience it right from the beginning of chapter 20 all the way to the end. If you've enjoyed Soloist in the Cage up to this point, I would say that there is a really good probability that you will absolutely enjoy the ending. This was a wonderful comic. And I hope Moriya Sensei continues with new series that has the same sort of feel as this one. He is a master of bringing out emotionally sad but wonderfully wholesome stories. So thank you once again, Moriya Sensei. That was the discussion for chapter 20. And for the people who have followed this video series, thank you very much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed Soloist in the Cage as much as I have. Anyway, that's it for this discussion. This will close out this particular manga series, and I am very happy how it turned out. And until the next video for whatever manga that I bring up, thank you for watching, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.